this works. It does look like it's recording. Okay, okay, so this is the password cracking lab. Okay, the first thing to realize is that this lab requires that you use the compute hash from the previous lab. Okay, and it should be something you just copy and paste over. So you don't have to import Lab4 or anything like that. You should have a working compute hash function. Last night I did go through all the submitted assignments. I didn't grade them all, okay, but I did look at this function to make sure that it was correct. If for some reason, if you did not hear from me, it means yours was fine. Okay, there were a couple people I emailed last night just saying, make this correction to your compute hash. Okay. The first part of this lab, this lab has two completely separate parts. Okay, the first part is the verify password requirements. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. I'm very confident that you all can do this. We've done variations of it in class. Okay, so that should be the low-hanging fruit on this one. However, the remainder of them are interactive with each other and also a lot trickier. Okay, so the determine hash function, okay, takes a single parameter, okay, a string that has a hash value in it. I'm going to demo this so you can see how to test it. Okay, and basically returns MD5, SHA-1, or SHA-256. Okay, so if you look at the output from the compute hash function in Lab4, you'll see that these have different lengths. MD5 hashes are much shorter, okay, than SHA-1, which are shorter than SHA-256. So that's your hint there. Okay, and then this is where the real work happens. Okay, so the first case, you're going to try to crack a password, assuming there's no stretching, so not multiple rounds, just one round essentially. Okay, and then you're going to try to crack a password with stretching. Okay, so read this very, very carefully. Okay, because the idea here is that the password you'll crack is exactly 3 characters. That's for runtime reasons. Brute force attacks take a long time. Okay, so this is a really short password. It's only 3 characters. Okay, and the only valid 3 characters, okay, are capital letters, lowercase letters, digits, and these special characters. Okay, so in these crack password functions, you basically have to generate a list of all possible characters, okay, or all possible passwords, okay, and then run through using compute hash, okay, to find that matching password. Okay. Then there's a main function that either checks a password or allows you to crack a password. There is a corresponding text file. And for those who are, ahead and feel comfortable with it, okay, you can also, there's a little bit of extra credit you can do here. All right, so let me show you. So there's the compute hash brought over. But let me run this so that we can see how it works. Okay, so when you start running your Lab4 file, you should get 2 options: check a password and crack a password. Okay, so here I'm going to put in just an invalid password. It's long enough, but it doesn't meet all the requirements. I get invalid password and I come back to my main menu. Then I'm going to put in a valid password. Okay, and I get the notification that it's valid, and this will just keep looping forever. Okay. When I select crack password, okay, I get 2 options: no stretching and stretching. Okay, so I'm going to test each one in turn. Okay. Now, These are a little more challenging to test, so I'm going to, basically shortcut the amount of work I have to do. And I'm going to come over to my test file. And in this test file, I'm basically have, as always, a test of each thing. Okay, so I'm going to find the one. Okay, so here was the test I ran for crack password no stretching. Okay. And this is the hash and the salt that I used. Okay, so I have, when creating this test file, I have verified, okay, that this is a valid hash of a 3-digit password, 3-character password, okay, with this salt. Okay, so when I'm copying that in, where's my terminal? Pasting it here. Okay, that's the hash value. The salt in this case was salt. Okay. Okay, and the result of that was AC3. So here's this 3-digit password, okay, that when combined with the salt, okay, resulted in this hash. Okay, you'll have to call those helper functions to get that. Okay, similarly for the stretching option, okay, here's the crack password with stretching. Okay, oops, sorry. First it asked me for the number of rounds. Okay, the number of rounds is 50. Okay, then it asks me for the hash value. Okay, and then it asks for the salt. Okay, but all of this I'm just pulling out of the test file. Okay, this is the answer I expect back. Okay, takes a few minutes to run this. Okay, so that's normal and shouldn't cause panic. Okay, and then you can see that, it's a little hard to read the way it wrapped. You can see that it got the correct password. Of course, the test file itself does run and test each function. It takes a few minutes to run. So you should still use the test file, okay, but I thought in terms of development it would be valuable for you to see sort of how the program was envisioned, okay, and how it was supposed to work. Okay. The other hint I'll give you is the crack password functions, both of them, crack password no stretching and crack password with stretching, require triple for loops. Okay, so you're going to have a loop within a loop within a loop, okay, to build up the password. Okay, the idea here is that I'm doing this because I'm recording, otherwise I would write this on the board. Okay, so let's call this, generating a list of potential passwords, I'll call it. Okay. Create a list, or this is just pseudocode, or string of valid characters. Okay, so that will look something like cars equals, A, B, C, so on, A, B, C. Obviously, I'm shortcutting here, 0, 1, 2, 3. And then all those special characters from the assignment. Okay, so there's the string containing all the valid characters. You can do it as a list, it doesn't matter. Okay, and then you need one loop, first loop for the first character. Then you need an inner loop, second loop for the second character, and then a third loop for the third character. Okay, and then inside that, okay, you pull, I'm going to call this, pull all 3 chars together, add the salt, and call compute hash. And check the result. Okay, so at some point, okay, so this check the result is going to be an if statement. If, computed hash equals entered hash, print the password and return, or whatever it is. I think you might just return the password, come to think of it. That sounds a little more correct to me. Return the password. Okay, that you found. Okay, so this is the basic pseudocode that you're going to use for this problem. Okay, and this is really the first time we've done this complex of a loop together. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh man, where's the password that we're trying to crack come from? Is that going to already be in?
No, so that's the idea is you have to find the password that you're trying to crack. Okay, so this loop is generating all possible 3-character passwords. Okay, and you're going to test each one of those in turn until you find the one that matches. Okay, what you're going to enter is the hash. So basically, this is the input, is the hashed version of the password.
Oh, so we're taking the hash and we're just trying to
find the plain text password that goes with that.
Okay. Do we know what they use to hash it?
No.
Okay, so you just have to do the MD5, all 3 different hashes.
You'll write a function that you'll use to determine what. Okay, so MD5 is a certain length. SHA-1 is a different length. So the determine hash function will.
Does it have a predetermined length?
Yes, it's always the same.
Okay.
Yep. Garrett?
When we say we're using the compute hash, are we taking the whole function and just throwing it in Lab4, or are we somehow calling it from Lab3?
Just copy and paste it from Lab3 into Lab4.
Okay.
Okay, you could technically import it, but it won't be worth the trouble. Okay. Okay. Other questions or comments? Okay, with that, again, you're allowed to work in groups of up to 3 if you choose to. Okay, but remember that you need to understand what you're doing to be successful in the major. So I leave that up to you as to whether that's the best thing for your learning. For some people it will be, for others they'll be better off doing it on their own. What else was I gonna? And if you're still behind, please catch up this weekend. I know everybody's been sick. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going around, but try to get caught up on Lab 3 and homework, whichever one it is this weekend. You have a list homework due Monday, and this lab is due next Friday. Okay, so the workload is pretty intense this coming week. Okay. All right, let me figure out how to stop this. That's not apparently an option. Why is it doing that?